Buckle up. Thank you for tuning in to Musicians and Beyond, episode number 1, where we get all the backstage information on the lyrics, life, and long journeys of musicians everywhere. Today's broadcast is brought to you by the great people at Distillery 43. It's the handcrafted small batch spirit with the big flavor. Today, episode number 1, we are very honored, Mark and I, to have an amazing artist, singer, songwriter, all-around great guy, coming to us from Batson Studios in Nashville, Tennessee. We have Mr. Eric Haynes. Welcome, Mr. Haynes.
Thank you guys for having me. This is going to be fun. I was excited about it.
Yeah, so are we, and we want to thank you for tuning in. I know you got a busy schedule down there with everything you do. John and I are excited to have you online with us. We were excited to see you a few weeks ago when we stopped down in Nashville, and we were fortunate to be out with you, see you at the Bluebird, but also spend a night and have dinner with you out on the town. So thank you for that as well.
Well, that's a lot of fun for me. I mean, I I wish I could see you guys more often. Really, it was a lot of fun.
Well, we'll have to make that happen. For those that don't know what the Bluebird Cafe is, it's a worldwide iconic venue that it's really an honor to play there. And if you don't know about it, check it out. There's a documentary, I believe it's just called The Bluebird Cafe, and it's definitely worth checking out. And we saw Eric Haynes there a couple weeks ago with Michael Gray from Lee Brice, Jeff Batson, who is Eric's duo partner, and another wonderful singer-songwriter, Craig Winquist. So we're hoping to see them again sometime soon. So, Mr. Haynes, I understand that you got into music about the age of 10 years old, and you started the piano.
Yeah, my mom got me into the music. At 10 years old, I was into, sports, playing baseball, football, basketball. And, she wanted me to learn to play the piano. And it kind of came natural to me. And I never practiced. And so I had to go see my piano teacher once a week. And my mom would be standing there with a ruler, snapping it on her hand behind me, saying, "You're going to practice." So I would practice for an hour and then go to my piano teacher. And then she would tell my mom, she said, "I can tell he practices all the time because he's very, very good." And I would really practice an hour a week because I wanted to be outside playing with my friends, riding a bike, playing basketball, baseball, whatever. And, I think the piano kind of gave me a really good foundation because, piano is a very similar instrument to guitar. They're both chording instruments where you can play chords and sing a melody along with it. It's kind of different than if you played a trumpet or a trombone or, sax, you can play one note at a time. But, with a piano guitar, you can play literally, with the piano, you can play 10 notes. We have 10 fingers. And of course with guitar. So it's a perfect instrument for people who want to songwrite because you can play the rhythm and actually sing your melody along with it. But I have to give her credit for standing behind there and threatening to beat me until I finished all my practicing.
Well, she did good, Mr. Haynes. Let's fast forward 3 years to your 13th birthday. I understand that someone gave you a birthday present, and it was a Yamaha guitar.
Yeah, Yamaha F110. And,
okay.
My brother still had that guitar. I gave it to him some years later, but it was a really good guitar to learn on. Yamaha makes really good instruments, and, quit because your fingers, if you have a inexpensive guitar, it's really hard. It was a good quality guitar, and I took lessons for maybe 3 months, and the lessons just went too slow for me. And I just started buying songbooks like buying some Eagles songbooks or Crosby, Stills and Nash songbooks or Neil Young songbooks, and they all had the chords over top of the music, and I knew how the song went, so all I had to do is like learn those chords and just sing along with it, and I kind of taught myself that way to play guitar.
Interesting. Eric, let me ask you, I haven't heard you play the piano yet. I've obviously heard you on guitar, so I'm looking forward to that one day. What other instruments do you play?
Well, I used to play harmonica all the time. When I did solo gigs back in my earlier years, when I was playing around Maryland and Pennsylvania and Virginia, I had a harmonica with me all the time. I put the harmonica, I tried to put it in almost every song. I put a harmonica solo. And, I haven't been playing that lately, but I also play some mandolin and some banjo. And part of this all came out of necessity when I put my studio in my house. Instead of trying to find somebody to come to my house and put on these parts, I figured, what's a stringed instrument? I should be able to figure it out. And so I just learned to play mandolin and banjo and also ukulele. I learned to play just so I could put my own tracks down. And now if it's something like really elaborate, like even on piano, if I have something that's really elaborate, then I'll just get somebody to come do it. It's really good. But for a lot of the stuff, I just learned to play those instruments so that I could put my own tracks down.
Very nice. Very nice. So let me ask you, talking about, putting your own tracks down, writing your own music, what is your lyrical writing process like? Do you like to do co-writes? Do you like to do it on your own? And how do you come up with the ideas? Where do you come up with do you work off a title, or do you work off a couple of lyrics that you start out with?
Well, before I moved to Nashville, I hardly ever co-wrote with anybody. And if you talk to people too, like when they move here from California, Arizona, or Washington State or Pennsylvania, they come here, they never co-wrote before. And so Nashville, co-writing is just the way it's done. And it does kind of work better to get 2 guys or 3 guys in a room, because you can kind of bounce stuff off each other. And it's almost like you have your brain, their brain, and there's almost like a third brain that's created between the 2 of you. And so co-writing is probably the best way to write a song, though there are certain subjects that you write about that it only works if you write it yourself. Like I have some songs that I was actually going to play at the Bluebird because they're very self-reflective songs and truthful songs. I actually didn't play them because they're just super personal. So those kind of songs, you want to write. And co-writing is, and so as far as ideas, you can get an idea about anything. Somebody asked me that one time, and I was sitting there eating dinner, and I said, well, look, you could write a song about this fork in my hand. It's just, there's songs you can, like the George Strait song they wrote, it's called The Chair. They wrote a song about the chair. It's about, a girl coming in and him giving his chair to this girl and so on. Or usually in conversations I have with people, I'll hear something they say and I say, man, that would be a great hook to a song. Lots of times it's just in conversation. That's one of the good things about co-writing. Sometimes you go into the room and you have ideas that you want to write, but in the conversation, a hook will come up and like we all just look at each other and that's it. That's it. So like the hook, like Moonshine Margarita's hook is Trent and I couldn't get a song ready. Trent, Jeff, Gunn, and myself, we couldn't get a song going. We were in there an hour. We couldn't just get something started. So he said, let's take a break. Let's go out here to the refrigerator. And the refrigerator was empty except for a jar of a margarita mix and a bottle of moonshine. And so he said, well, let's write Moonshine Margaritas. And so that song idea came out of looking into the refrigerator.
And it's a great song.
Yeah, it ended up being a really good song. And, sometimes like when I wrote with Trent didn't play an instrument. But sometimes I would just start playing some music I had. And something would click in his brain and he would just start singing these lyrics that he'd written, And that same day we wrote 2 songs. We wrote another song called My Song. And I just started playing some music that I'd been working on. For me, I do create a lot of music first. But sometimes I'll go and I say, I got this great piece of music and I don't have any lyrics for it. And so that day we wrote this song called My Song. His publisher loved both of those songs so much that we demoed. He wanted to demo both of them. And the song was about being in Nashville and getting discouraged and, watching other people have success. Sometimes you wonder whether you're supposed to be here or not. And I told him that day I was driving over I-65 feeling really bad. And that Tim McGraw song, Live Like You're Dying, came on the radio. And it just hit me that, I belong here, because, that song is so meaningful to me and a lot of people. And I said, that's what I want to do. I want to write songs that are meaningful to people. And so that's what the song, My Song, it's called My Song, is about doing that, just not giving up and pursuing those dreams. I'd seen a webinar by this professor at Penn State. He was talking about overcoming obstacles. And sometimes we get walls that are thrown up in front of us, but the reason the wall is thrown up in front of us is because we're supposed to climb over it and overcome that wall. And so that line made it into the song. Song ideas can just come out of nowhere. When you get in a room with some other really good writers, the ideas just keep flowing out. The question is, which one are we going to write?
Yeah, I'm sure the creativity is greater, but is it always the most efficient? Who knows? I guess you can get both sides of that coin when you're sitting with a group of folks writing a song.
Yeah, music is the universal language. It just tells you how powerful it can be. And the songs that you guys write are amazing. There's, very heartfelt songs. There's songs that everybody can relate to on one level or another. You've really done a good job, and you've been recognized all over for it.
Well, sometimes, you want to get in a room and publishers want you to write a hit song. You might write something that sounds great. It sounds like what's on the radio, but by the time somebody else records it and would want to do it, radio has changed. And it's not quite the same thing they're playing anymore. So I tend to want to write, at this point in my life, I want to tend to write songs that are meaningful to people. Not so much, I'm sitting on the tailgate in my truck and my baby's got her cut off blue jeans on and I'm having a beer and, I've kind of got away from that type of, trying to create that image and just try to write things like Jeff and I wrote this song Here For You with Steve Mitchell. And we actually wrote it years ago. For Jeff and I, it just kept coming up on our radar. Like Steve, lives in Canada now, I think he really liked it a lot. And his wife is actually a publisher, song pitcher. And she really wasn't all that crazy about it, but we said, we're going to go record it. And so after we recorded, we sent it out there and they loved it. They both loved it. But it's a song about just being, when you got a friend that's down and they need help, you just hear for them. What do they need? Whatever their problem is, they just need to talk. I'm just here for you. Whatever you need, I'm here for you. And that's kind of the main idea of the song. And I try to write more and more songs like that, and more songs that are more personal, as opposed to write hit songs. And I think you can still write a hit song that way, I believe. And it'd probably be a better hit song when you do that, instead of trying to copy what's on the radio.
Yeah, we've listened to a lot of your songs, and you have a lot of hidden hits in there. And, hopefully one of these days, one of them pops. But you definitely have the knack. And when you work with your co-writer there, Jeff Batson, you guys have something magic going on. You really, create some wonderful music.
Yeah, you guys have heard that song, Just One. And so over the years, everybody just comes back to that song. And I love that song, Just One, And so that's one of those songs, like you just said, hopefully at some point it finds a home somewhere. And, label artists will want to put it out there. But it's kind of personal. The subject matter is kind of personal too, and it deals with addiction. And, when artists are looking for songs, like Trent Jeffcoat had like a record deal for a while and he was searching for songs. As he says, a writer, I would just feel like, this is a great song. You should record it. But when you're an artist, the song kind of has to fit you. It fits you as an artist. And that's kind of the hard thing when they're picking out songs is, yeah, it's a great song, but I just don't know that I want to sing about that. And somebody may not want to sing about addiction because, you know, it's personal. It makes them vulnerable as well. And people don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want the public thinking, well, what's this guy got an addiction or something? You know, people have a problem. Artists have a problem with appearing vulnerable. But I'm past that point in my life.
One thing I can say, you know, I'm glad you brought up that song because, as you know, it's one of my favorites. And when I hear you sing it, you perform it in a way that I think you should be the one to cut it. And obviously, I love your voice and I love the way what you bring to it. And I think it does for a lot of people. Anyone can relate to that. You know, I think there's so many people out there struggling, whether it's with addiction or something that they've gone through in life. That just one comes back in so many different ways, and it's a very, very powerful song with a lot of very strong and deep emotional words in it. So I love when you perform it.
So I played in a round a couple of weeks ago with Lance Carpenter. You know, Lance had a #1 hit with Kelsey Ballerini as a writer. And then he had a record deal on Toby Keith's label, and kind of all that all fell apart. You know, and he said, at this point, he said, I'm just trying to be me. He said, I don't really care if anybody cuts my songs. I'm going to cut my songs and I'm putting my songs out. And, you know, he said, I'm just trying to be me, you know, and I'm kind of feeling that way too. You know, I saw Chris Stapleton interview, and it was on 60 Minutes. You know, Chris has had a huge amount of success. But somebody, the interviewer on 60 Minutes said, you know, you're such a great guitar player. And he said, well, really, I'm not. He said, I just do me really well. And that's kind of my guitar playing is like that too. People say I'm a great guitar player, but I'm really not. There are guys in Nashville that blow me away as far as all the things they can do. But I just want to do me really well. And I want to do that as a songwriter and a singer. I just want to do me really well. And I think if you do that, you'll find your fans that like you.
You come across very genuine and very real, and I think it's one of the things that attract John and I to you as friends and fans. We are two of your biggest fans, and we love seeing you perform and hearing your music, and this is something that's really special to us to be able to share some of these thoughts and conversations with you a little bit deeper and a little bit more. So you are doing you really well, and we appreciate that.
Well, it helps to talk to you guys because things come out and I think about things that I hadn't thought about. You know, I started writing a song a couple of days ago about being vulnerable, about being willing to be vulnerable and put your feelings out there and be knowing that some people are going to criticize you for this or that or whatever. But when I talk to you guys about like these kind of conversations we had a couple of weeks ago, it helps me to get things out that are trapped in me, you know, and you help me untrap them and get them out. The more you talk about it, it helps you figure things out.
Absolutely.
In the past, you've done a lot of charity work type of things. You've written a lot of songs that benefit different causes, and you've been big with the American Lung Association as well as the Make-A-Wish Foundation. What inspired you, or what brought you to the point that you wanted to touch these groups of people that were in need?
Well, I think all of us need to help people, and music is a blessing for me. Okay, so it's like pro athletes. I heard a pro athlete talking, I think it's an NBA guy, and he was saying that 80% of his talent had nothing to do with him. It was just God gave him this physical ability. And so he said, I took it and I did my best I could, and so I think my musical ability and I've worked hard at developing it, but like I told you, like when I was 10 years old, music just clicked for me. So that's not me. That was just given to me by my maker. And so I think we need to share all those things. And especially if you're trying to help people, if you're trying to raise money for a good cause, help get some medical research done, pay for some research that helps find cures for things, or reduces people's suffering in some way, shape, or form, or simply just through your music, you touch people. Like sometimes I played songs that, people come up to me and they talk about my song, and that line in that song just personally touched me. I went through this, or I went through that. Like my mom just recently went through this, and, you played that song Here For You, and, that just really touched me. And so I just, I had a bass player once named Bob Russell, and he said, if there was one person in the room listening, you would play for them. You play your heart out, and that's kind of the way you got to look at it is, if one person is listening, So I wrote a song once called God Is Listening. And there's sometimes, when you play bars, like nobody shows up. It's just you and the bar, the bartender, and there's some waiters and waitresses in there. And so I just said, when that happens, you feel like, what am I playing for? Well, I do know that God is listening, so I'm going to play my best in order to do that, So I get involved with this organization simply because we should. We should do those things because we don't realize it. So many of us are blessed in so many ways, and we take it for granted or don't actually realize it. And so you gotta give back.
Amen.
You gotta be thankful for the things you have. And
you're absolutely right, and you're kind of preaching to the choir, of course, to John, because as you know, John has a nonprofit that he works with up here, and you've worked with him on a few things and done some shows up here to help out with that. So I want to thank you both for the work that you do, and you're right, we are blessed. We all have good things going on in our lives, and it's important for us to give back and help others, try and help them get to that point as well. And we have to recognize the fact that we should be pretty happy about the way our lives have gone and how we've handled, disparity, or how we've handled the hurdles that have been put in front of us. And we're lucky we've overcome them. But we got to help other people do that as well. And so with John working with the Make-A-Wish Foundation and your work with the American Cancer Society and the Lung Society, it's all good stuff. And when you can use your voice and your music to do that, that's really powerful.
Yeah, I mean, it's, there's, like I said, there's no reason to not do it. It's just people get joy from music, and they may not get joy from my music all the time or other people, but, it's just fun. It's fun, it's fulfilling for me to do it. Giving and receiving is kind of one act. It's kind of the same thing. You think of giving as one thing and receiving as the other, but I kind of look at it as it's all one thing. So you're giving your time and your efforts in music, but I'm receiving a lot back. When I get a lot of joy from just sharing songs with people and just knowing that they're listening.
Well, you said something, and we both know, we all know that you're a pretty spiritual person, and that reflects in a lot of the things you do. And one of the things that you just said was it's good to have fun, and it helps you. I think when you are enjoying what you do and you have fun with it, you are more successful. It just made me think of it when you said you have to have fun, and the smile that was on your face when you said it reminded me of the song that you and Jeff do, Santa's Having a Tailgate. And I watched the video for that song, and that is a fun video.
Oh, it is. It was a lot of fun doing it, too. We did it on Richard Trust's farm up in near Goodlettsville, Tennessee. And Jeff came up with that idea. He wrote it, and, the video is just a ton of fun. If it makes people laugh, then that's all that really matters. And if they enjoy it, and we still get airplay on that song every Christmas. We put it out that first year and we promoted it, and then every year though, just radio stations keep playing it just because it's a great, it's just a great fun song. And I have a friend up in New Jersey. He said it was like Christmas time, and he was riding in his car and, came up on the radio, Bats and Haynes, Santa's having a tailgate. And he was my college roommate. I hadn't talked to him in years, and came up on his radio, and he had encouraged him to get in touch with me on Facebook. And then we talked on the phone, and yeah, that's a really fun song.
It is, and I'm going to be honest, I don't just wait till Christmas to put it on. There are times during the season that I will, whether it's spring, summer, fall, I will put that song on sometimes and just laugh. I love watching the video, and it does bring a lot of joy to a lot of people. So keep doing it.
Yeah, even that song, for some reason, some days it just pops into my head and it keeps playing. I
can understand why. So keep it playing. Like I say, I make my kids listen to it every Christmas. We have it playing on in the house, and I send it out and try and get people up here to be listening to it and try and get it on the radio in Boston and in the New England area. So hopefully we'll get you up here for a Christmas sometime, and it'll be fun to do some things with it up here.
It'd be great.
That would be great. We can't wait to have you guys back up here. Do you think there's any possibility that you could play us a tune and maybe tell us a little bit about the song you're going to play and what inspired you for this song?
Sure.
While Eric's grabbing the guitar, it's funny. John and I visited Jeff and Eric in Nashville and saw them play at the Bluebird, as you all have heard. And one of the things that came out of seeing them at the Bluebird this year and past years, and just seeing them play elsewhere, is we want to bring that type of environment up here to Boston. So John and I have talked, and part of the reason we got into this podcast, other than enjoying music and enjoying the things that go on behind the scenes and on the road, it's also we want to be a part of making music happen up here and different genres and different venues. And so we look forward to trying to put something together that replicates the Bluebirds environment, that in the row or in the round scenario. And that's what you'll hopefully be seeing from musicians and beyond in the future is more podcasts, more music, more venues, and more fun.
We got a ton of people all lined up. We got people lined up. They're going to do the podcast that literally have 10 million sales of albums under their belt. And it ranges all the way from those professional status people to people that are on the verge of making it or that just need the push. And hopefully we can be the bridge and get some of these people together, make things work for those striving for this dream.
It's going to be a lot of fun going down this road, and we're really looking forward to it.
I mean, I can't believe episode 1, we have, one of the best musicians that I've ever seen. And not only is he a good musician, but
we are very fortunate. That's for sure.
An awesome guy to take time out of his,
and with that said,
busy day.
Let's see how Eric Haynes looks like he's ready to perform, and he's got his guitar in hand. Let's see what he does for us.
What do you got, Mr. Haynes?
I'm going to do this song Here For You. And like I said, we wrote this with Steve Mitchell. And Steve's a really good writer. He's from Canada. And I probably wrote 50 songs with Steve or so. Jeff and I and Steve we wrote a couple with him, actually. So in the day we took this studio, after we got done, all the musicians came up and thanked us for bringing that song to them because they really enjoyed playing on the song. And he said, when you come in here, I really enjoy your songs every time you come. So there was Troy Lancaster on guitars, great guitar player, Mike Rojas on keys, and, Eddie Bears on drums, and Eli Beard was on bass, and Larry Beard on acoustic guitar. But again, it's just you have a friend and you want to be there for them. And so it's called Here For You.
I know how much you loved him, everyone could see. And now you've lost the one who gave you all you'd ever need. I wish I had the words to make the sadness go away. To tell the truth, it's hard to know exactly what to say. But I'm here for you. Yeah, I'm the shelter you can run to. I'll catch your tears, go ahead and cry. If you want to talk, we can talk all night. Anything you need for me to do, I'm here for you. I won't try to tell you time is gonna heal the pain, and you don't need to hear everything's gonna be okay. I know that moving on can be the hardest thing to do, and I won't pretend to understand just what you're going through. But I'm here for you. Yeah, I'm the shelter you can run to. I'll catch your tears, go ahead and cry. If you wanna talk, we can talk all night. Anything you need for me to do, I'm here for you. Here for you. There's times in life when we all get confused, and we could use a hand to pull us through. So I'm here for you. Yeah, I'm here for you. Yeah, I'm the shelter you can run to. That is what a friend is for. I just wish I could do more. If it were me, I know you'd be there too. I'm here for you. I'm here. I'm the shelter you can run to. I'm here. I'll catch your tears. Go ahead and cry. If you wanna talk, we can talk all night. Here for you.
Wow, what a wonderful, touching song, really powerful. And I'm sure, people that have heard that have related to that in your music and magic that you bring, I'm sure has helped people through difficult times that they're having or going through at the time.
Yeah, I'd played it for a friend of mine, and she said, wow, it just reminded me of, she said her friend just lost her job that she had 12 years. And out of nowhere, they just let her go. And she said, she came over to her house and was there all night. And, she said, that's what I felt like. I didn't really know what to say or do, but I could at least just be there for the person, so that's kind of what the song is too. Often we don't know. We don't know what to say and we don't know what to do. But one thing you don't want to do is just leave people alone and just be around for them, answer the phone when they call or whatever.
Yeah, I think you hear that song, and I think we can all relate to the fact that you have to be there for your friends. And I think there's many people out there at least that have had those moments where they didn't, and they look back and reflect and say, boy, I wish I was there for that person when they needed me. And so it's a reminder that's a pretty powerful thing for us all to be able to do. And it's so easy to just pick up the phone, be there for someone, talk to them. So it is a good reminder for everyone out there listening. Take that to heart. Take that as you move forward, and make sure that you do. Make sure you listen to your friends, because a lot of times people miss those cues and miss those things that are being said or things that are being done, and we don't pick up on the fact that it was a message to us and a call or a cry for help at the time. So be there for your friends and your family.
Yeah, that's so true. Sometimes things are a cry for help, and we get busy in our lives and we just don't see that this person, hey, they need help. They're crying out. And so I think just having that awareness is really important too, just to be aware that the most important thing in life for people, it's not our careers. It's not the money we make. It's not the success we have, because all that's going to be gone at some point. But all you're going to have left is the relationships you had with people and the things you did to help them out. That's the way I think.
Absolutely. And I think it's fitting to make note for us here right now that, one of the things is you're here for us today on our first podcast. And happily, you've saved us by coming in and sitting in and being the voice and offering us some insight and offering us some music. And you are there for us and have been here for us at other times as well. But today is very special for us as we kick this off, and to have you with us makes it even more special for us. So thank you for that. Thank you for that song.
Just wanted to reiterate what you said, Mark. We are forever grateful to Eric Haynes. He's, like I said, he's a busy guy. He does real estate on the side. He's a school teacher. And trying to make money at music, which is difficult nowadays with the technology that people can just go on the internet and download a song and think it's okay and not pay. But the musician that's put their heart, soul on the line for this isn't really getting rewarded the way they should. So, people out there listening, please support your local musicians and anyone in the arts. It's really appreciated by them because it's something that I think's overlooked a lot of the time, and it's really unfortunate for the people that work so hard to bring this joy and touching music to us.
And I have to admit, I was somewhat blind to that fact, or oblivious to the fact that is a problem out there until that conversation we had in Nashville the other day, where we all sat down and talked, and you and Jeff brought that to the table. You guys, the both of you said that night that you don't come to music looking to make money. You do it for what you do it for. And then the fact that there's a byproduct where you do make money and you can make a living at it, I was completely ignorant to the fact that, there are people out there stealing music and the impact it has on the musicians. So I'm aware that people steal music, but I wasn't really thinking about the impact on the personal and or the songwriters and the artists that are out there struggling to make it. So thank you for helping me wake up to that and see it.
It's even that the quote stealing unquote has really been done by big tech companies. So they basically taken over the music industry. They have all the political clout. They have the money to pay their lobbyists in DC. And the people that went to the bottom of the barrel are the songwriters. So say a number one song, like I said, 10 years ago would pay $1 million to $1.5 million dollars to their writers, publishers. That's down to maybe $300,000 to $400,000.
Wow.
And then that's split between at least 4 splits. So 400,000 becomes 100,000. So you could make money off of album cuts, and those are gone. There's nowhere out there. You don't make money off of mechanical royalties, are gone. And so when I moved to Nashville, there was probably 1,500 people that had a staff writing position with a publisher. It's less than 200 now.
Wow.
So, and it's really been the big tech companies that, they've got all the political clout. They can get what they want. And, but, at the same time, you can't, like you said, too, somebody told me when I first came to town, you can't do it for the money. Just do it because you love it. And if you happen to be able to make money at it, then that's great.
Right. And then we were talking that night, and, you talk about how much, when you go out and you play on the road, how much you guys can make. And it's interesting to hear that. And it adds some sort of depth to, the conversations we had. And it makes us realize how hard you guys work for what you get. With that said, you're out there on the road playing. You and Jeff have gone all over. You've come up here to New England. You've played up in St. Louis. You've played all over Tennessee and Kentucky. And what's your favorite venue? Where have you had the most fun on stage?
Well, I guess, obviously the Bluebird's a great place because it's a listening venue.
Absolutely.
And so people are coming to listen, not necessarily party, but they're coming to listen. But that's always a great place. And then a lot of wineries in Southern Illinois, that we've played, and those are just laid back venues, and most of them are outside, and that's really cool. When we were in Boston, we played Loretta's Last Call. It's really good. And the Stumble Inn up there in Londonderry. And then what's cool about Melissa's was it was really small, and it's packed with people. But A lot of the marinas we play, the outside venues, I just like playing outside in general, but I can pretty much have fun no matter where I go, you know.
I've seen that.
That you can.
I've seen that happen in Jeff's house, Butchie's backyard, a number of places that we've been out on the mini tour you did up here. So it is a lot of fun to spend time with you, and I have noticed you can get after it every now and then and enjoy yourself.
Sure. Yeah, I do. I express a lot of emotion often, but I'm really expressing it inside to myself, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just get so welled up inside. It's hard for me to not, like, you know, almost cry. Sometimes when I'm playing music, I get feelings that are just so emotional. Sometimes I get choked up when I'm singing. Like if I'm singing a song and I think about lyrics and what it means, you know, it's just, sometimes I just get really choked up.
Interesting. I would find it hard to even think about anything other than trying to keep my fingers on the guitar strings and the words that I'm supposed to say. And here you are having these thoughts in the background that allow you to escape that and go somewhere else with it. I would be completely stumbling all over the stage.
Well, it's like I said, you know, especially when you're playing something you wrote, sometimes the lyrics are so personal that they mean so much that you do kind of have sometimes I have trouble singing certain songs. Or like even that Tim McGraw song that Tim Nichols wrote with Craig Wiseman, Live Like You're Dying. Sometimes those lyrics get me choked up. Or like one song, a rock song, Don Henley's song, The Heart of the Matter. When you play that song in a bar, there's so many people who just stop and listen because they relate to that forgiveness piece. You know, that no matter what happens, what really matters is just we forgive each other and you move on. So that song's about a divorce, a breakup, but it's still about being able to forgive each other and move on. And, you know, I get a little choked up just right now talking about it, you know, but he wrote that with Mike Campbell, who's Tom Petty's guitar player. And that's one of my favorite songs to play because of what it means.
Yeah, it's a great song.
It is a great song. What's interesting to me, Mark, is what Eric was just saying, how someone else's music touches him and means so much. Well, when he is up on stage, he's doing that to other people. It's really an amazing way things work that it just really gets into people's souls of the words.
Yeah, it really is. You know, the ability to touch someone through your lyrics, through the sound of the music that you're producing and putting out there it's incredibly powerful. I wish I had that impact, but I'm lucky to have people like Eric who can do that for me and touch us in a way that they do. So love the fact that he does it. I love the fact that you share that connection to the music with us. It helps us understand a lot more. Let me ask you, when you talk like that, what is the song that touches you the most that you've written?
Well, Just One does touch me a lot. Sometimes I get a little choked up in that. And, you know, that song, Do This Country Some Good. Sometimes after we do the first chorus, we always get this applause. Like, a little more country might do this country some good. And we always get this applause. And it's kind of emotionally moving when that happens. But there's a lot of them that are emotionally, there's some that I've just solo written that I haven't really played for a lot of people that I can play at home by myself. But even when I play them by myself, I get a little bit choked up on them. And so they're probably not things that you probably haven't heard them because I don't think I've played them. But there's one that's like long enough. It's been long enough. And so that's another song about addiction. And there's another one that's Who I Am. And it's really a song about us, you know, the music business, like you feel like you're a boxer and you box for a few years and you're in the ring and you box and man, you just get tired of being beat up. And so you just walk away. But there's something in you that makes you want to get back in the ring again, you know? And so this song That's Who I Am. That's this life kind of experience of, you know, like my mom wanted me to be a lawyer or something, you know, when I came out of high school. And the last thing she wanted me to do was be a musician and stuff. So So the world tries to tell you, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. But often you got to follow your heart. And sometimes you follow your heart, you get criticized. You know, like in the music, oh, you're never going to make it, this, that, whatever. It's just too hard. You can't do it. And so sometimes you get beat up with that. But something inside you, your heart most likely, makes you want to get back in the ring, put the gloves on, and start fighting it again. And so that song is kind of about that's who I am. So the song's really about whether I become a huge star or I'm just playing in a bar every night. It doesn't matter. That's who I am. That's my story. If that's what it is, then that's what it is. And that's who I am. And so that's kind of what the song's about. But that sometimes gets a little bit emotional.
Yeah. Well, thank you for putting those gloves back on and going back in the ring and doing these things for us.
You know, I was going to say, you know, that this is the one time I think I'm glad that you didn't listen to your mother. I'm glad that you became a singer, a songwriter, and a musician. And it makes me think that the way you tell stories through music and lyrics is probably what makes you so successful at being a teacher, as John alluded to earlier. You're a history teacher, and I imagine that in one way or another, that your ability to tell stories the way you do helps the students relate to you and helps them relate to the history lessons that you're teaching them. And I think it's thank God you have that ability. And I'm sure there's been a number of students that have gone on to be successful because of the way that you've impacted them.
Yeah, you know, I was teaching economics, and yesterday there's some visitor from the school board came into my room. I had no idea they were coming in, and she sat down, and when she left, she wrote this little note and left it on my desk and said, "Your lesson, wow, exclamation point. I learned a lot in the short time I visited. So engaging and practical examples for all the students to learn from." And I do try to make things real. And so a songwriter has to make it real world, real life. And so whenever you're teaching, you're doing the same thing. You're trying to take this abstract subject and turn it into like, what's it like in real life? You know? And so, you know, even when you came to town, publishers would tell you, you know, just write the truth. Just tell the truth in your song. You know, just don't try to make stuff up. Just tell your truth. You know, and that's kind of what anybody that's in that kind of, you know, if you can tell your story or tell a story in a way that nobody's ever said it before, that's all really I'm trying to do, no matter what it is, you know. It's just telling that story.
Yeah. Let me ask you, do you have another song that you'd like to do that tells a story, or one that you'd like to get out there and let people hear?
Maybe I can do that song I told you about.
It took just one cigarette to get me hooked on smoking, and 10,000 tries before I finally broke it. It's amazing how a habit starts with just one. It took just one drink of Joe's, at least that's what I told her. And 10 beers later, I was no longer sober. 16 months of sobriety was over for just one. One dandelion in a breeze can fill a field full of weeds. One single match thrown carelessly can burn a forest full of trees. One kiss and I knew I was in love, and all it took for me to screw the whole thing up was just one. It took just one stretch of the truth about where I was that evening. I tried to cover up that lie, but I could tell she didn't believe it. I blew 16 months of building up her trust for just one. One dandelion in a breeze can fill a field full of weeds. One single match thrown carelessly can burn a forest full of trees. One kiss and I knew I was in love, you know. all it took for me to screw the whole thing up was just one apology, one rose from me, one please don't leave. Girl, I'm on my knees. One dandelion in a breeze can fill a field full of weeds. One single match strung carelessly can burn a forest full of trees. I don't know it all, but baby, I know this much. It's not worth losing my one true love. The just one line in a breeze can fill a field full of weeds. One single man strong carelessly can burn a forest full of trees.
That's great.
Wow. So you're a real humble and grateful guy and trying to get messages out there and touch people. Like your song said, it might make them smile, it might make them cry, but either way, you're still touching their soul. In all these songs that you've been talking about, for anyone listening, you can go on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, any of those major digital download companies and download them. And, you can also connect to you through erichainesmusic.com or batsonhaynes.com. Is there any other ways that people should be getting in touch with you? Or if they wanted to hire you for an event, I know you guys have done some real big events for some big companies, Make-A-Wish Foundation, et cetera. How do they get in touch with you to book you?
Well, both of those websites, like erichainesmusic.com, you can send a message, request to book, or through batsonhaynes.com, you can send a message to book, to just tell us you're interested in booking us. That'll go right into our email.
Great.
So that's probably the best way. I don't know if there's a phone number on there or not, but
we've seen you quite a few times all over the country. And you've never disappointed. And, that was the first time I heard that song. And, it sparked my my interest in excitement again to hear these new things. You're forever generating and compiling these single notes into a beautiful orchestrated music composition.
Yeah, that one actually toward the end, I started to get a little bit choked up, actually. So, I don't play that one a lot, like in front of people, because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know at what point I'm going to get choked, because it's true.
Yeah, but that's
it's
okay.
True. It's a true story.
You're a human. You're a human being, and sometimes for people to see the musician, that tells them that what they're telling you and emanating, they really believe it, and it touches them too. And, you putting that out there can touch someone, just as much.
Eric, one of the things that struck me is that the lyric, I'm your troubadour from 10 to 2. And so many people down on Broadway and other venues throughout Nashville and throughout the world are struggling to be that voice at any hour, whether it's 10 to 2 a.m. or 10 to 2 p.m. Our trips down to Nashville have shown us that some of these performers are taking any slots they can, get up on stage in front of people and play, and it's wonderful to see them doing it. And it's wonderful to be down there at breakfast or up until 2 a.m. or whatever hour you might be out roaming the streets until to see some of these performers out there, putting their heart out there and working so hard to perform and to entertain us. We are so very grateful for everyone that gets up there and does that.
Well, I think one of the things you said, John, is believable. Okay, so that's the thing. Like when I hear a singer, do I believe what they're singing? So that's one of the hardest things for an artist is, like, I might write a great song, but when they sing it, it's just not believable, and so that's one of the things. But what you were just saying, Mark, there's a lot of people in Nashville that are as talented or often more talented than people that have record deals and are on the radio, because they just didn't walk into Doug Johnson accidentally and Doug took a liking to them, or they didn't walk into, other people in the industry here, and they, sometimes it's just luck. You ran into the right person at the right time. And I've always felt like the songwriters were the most talented people in this town, so of course there obviously there are a lot of talented artists, and some of them, like somebody like Eric Church, who's a great songwriter, not necessarily a great singer, but it doesn't matter. He tells a great story, and
great performer. Yeah.
And he's got he's one of the most unique songwriters. In fact, like, he has some songs on the radio, and it's funny, I like the songs that are on his albums that are not on the radio the best. The ones that are not on the radio is the ones I like the best. But yeah, you see a lot of people on Broadway, and there are a lot of really talented people. It's just some of them get that break where they run into the right person at the right time, and some of them don't.
Yeah,
most of them don't.
Most of them don't. You're right. And, we were talking about why we started to do this. We wanted to give a voice and a platform and talk to other people that aren't getting those record deals, and try and give them an area where they can reach another audience or get a little bit more exposure. And it's not like John and I are going to bring, big record label or anyone to their table, but, other people are going to hear their song and appreciate it, and that's what you're really looking to do, is touch a greater audience. And if that happens and something sparks from that, that's what we hope that we're able to give them, that added exposure and experience. And when you're in Nashville, you find out when you're roaming Broadway that you don't have to go there for just country. You go up and down that strip and any one of those venues, and there's rock. We saw Shannon performing down at Kid Rock's club the other night, and she was playing Led Zeppelin and Pat Benatar, and the crowd was there for country music, but obviously warmed right up to her and sat through every set she had, and it was pretty incredible to watch. And there are some great people down there doing all sorts of music.
Yeah, and about your show is you never really know when somebody's watching your show and hears something. Like, I think I told you that story about the Chris Janson song, Buy Me a Boat. They wrote that song, and they went in and cut it, and he sent it to Bobby Bones, the DJ Bobby Bones, the Bobby Bones Show. And how many people send music to Bobby Bones? I mean, like, thousands of people send music. For some reason, Bobby Bones opens this one up and listens to it, loves it, sends it to Toby Keith. He retweets it out to 800,000 followers.
Incredible.
And then weeks later, he has a record deal and the song's out on the radio.
And he's been doing well since.
So yeah, and it's just, and he's a songwriter. He's a really talented guy.
Yeah, incredibly.
That's how I think the songwriters are the most talented people that are here. You never know what your show is going to do for anybody. You just put it out there.
Well, we're happy to try and make that happen, and we're happy to, one day if someone's looking down and saying, we sent that song to John Sarabian, and it was like someone that sent it to Chris Janson sent it to Bobby Bones. Maybe one day we'll hear that. But for the time being, we're happy to just be talking to people like you and exploring the world of music and hearing great songs and music from you and the stories that go along with it. So thank you for coming in today and sitting down and being on our show with us. Thank you for being the inaugural guest and helping us to walk through this journey that we're about to go on and being a part of it for us. We want to thank you for your time. John?
Yeah, really, we're honored. I mean, to say the least, to have Eric Haynes here again. If you haven't heard him before, check him out. Google him. Download some music. Tell your friends. You won't be disappointed. He's a true gentleman, a master singer, songwriter, musician, everything. Just, the whole package. He's really a good guy. Good guy to hang out with. Appreciates so much. Helps other people. I mean, you couldn't really ask for a better guy.
You can see a little bit more of Eric and his duo partner Jeff, and hear some of their music together, and hear some of their music that they've done separately by going to www.musiciansandbeyond.com. Go there, check out the artists that we're spotlighting, that we're highlighting. Go to our Facebook, social media contacts and platforms, and make sure you follow these musicians. We'll have links up there to their sites. We'll have links up there to their songs that you can download. And so please go support them, and make sure you tune in next time and follow the musicians as they go along this road through the lyrics, the life, and the long journeys on the road.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. I really enjoyed it, and I really appreciate it very much. It's been fun.
It has been fun.
And we look forward to having you and Jeff on and doing this show a couple more times with you guys in the future. And we can't wait to see you again. Thank you for being our friend.